I want to talk about my guy, Anthony Richardson, man. So, Anthony Richardson has been turning a lot of heads during OTAs, and I already know what y'all gonna say. Man, JT, everybody looks good during OTAs, and blah, 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 blah. Listen, man, I watched Will Levis overthrow an easy pass in the net. I mean, not everybody performs good in OTAs. Will Levis so far has been struggling at OTAs for the Tennessee Titans. So, during OTAs, of course, you want your rookies to perform well, especially your rookie quarterback. But let's not act like everybody just looks good during OTAs, because I don't know how many of you guys been seeing Will Levis perform, but the dude has been looking as bad as advertised. Hell, I know Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask ain't rookies, but they haven't been looking good in OTAs neither. They've been overthrowing wide open wide receivers, and they're running routes on air with no DBs. So, with Anthony Richardson performing well during OTAs, I think that's something that needs to be really praised. Because there are plenty of QBs out there right now who are stinking up the joint right now during their OTA sessions for their teams. Anthony Richardson has came out and has completely shocked the Indianapolis Colts organization. Like, what people have been saying on Indianapolis coaching staff when it came to Anthony Richardson is that he's not as raw as a lot of people made him out to be. His pocket presence is way better than what was initially reported when he was coming out of the University of Florida. And my rookie year expectations for Anthony Richardson are this. I'm expecting this year to go for Anthony Richardson if he ends up being the starter for the Colts this season, similar to how Justin Fields' 2022 campaign was for the Chicago Bears. You're going to have some really big moments where Anthony Richardson pulls out some highlight reel 60, 55-yard runs. He's going to make some fantastic throws downfield. But I still think for the most part, he's going to be a little bit up and down. He's going to be a little bit inconsistent at times. But I still think for the most part, Indianapolis is going to be able to be really competitive with him at QB. We saw the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson's rookie season, build an offense completely around his rushing ability and his athleticism, and he went 6-1 and replaced Joe Flacco and carried them to the postseason. John Harbaugh's job was on the line that year. Lamar Jackson kind of saved Lamar. For Anthony Richardson, you put him in that system with Shane Steichen, somebody who was the offensive coordinator for Justin Herbert his rookie season. You saw how good Justin Herbert was. The dude had pretty much the best season that we've ever seen out of a rookie quarterback in NFL history. And then he goes to Philadelphia and he helps develop Jalen Hurts. And you saw what Jalen Hurts did last season. This dude was pretty much the second leading candidate to win NFL MVP last year. And you put Shane Steichen with Anthony Richardson. I think this was a match made in heaven by the football gods. I was telling everybody since Anthony Richardson first declared for the draft out of Florida that Indianapolis with Shane Steichen was the proper place for him. Shane Steichen is going to run a system that's going to be able to get the most out of Anthony Richardson, and he's not going to put Anthony Richardson in too many situations where his weaknesses are going to be on display. I think with how we've seen these athletic quarterbacks like Justin Fields and Lamar Jackson come into the league, there's ways to win with their athleticism year one while they develop as a passer in the background. And for Anthony Richardson, like, this guy puts in a lot of work. Like, he's one of those guys who is the definition of first one in and last man out. The dude already is running the playbook at a pretty high level. He's already impressing the coaching staff. I mean, we see Will Levis looking like a bum right now. So at least Anthony Richardson is looking better than Will Levis, who many people had ahead of him. And for Anthony Richardson, he's going into a really good situation. The Indianapolis Colts have a decent group of wide receivers. You got Michael Pittman. You got Alex Pierce, who's a really good deep threat. You got rookie Josh Downs out of UNC, who him and Anthony Richardson have already developed a good rapport together. They already have good chemistry with each other. And then you got Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. Like, bro, we really are going to have a backfield with Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor. I mean, I don't think too many teams want to see that. You already know how much of a beast Jonathan Taylor is, even though he had a disappointing season last year, but it wasn't because of him mainly. It was just that the offensive line just completely let him down. And then this season, you get Shane Steichen, who's going to specialize in the run game department, who's going to specialize in being able to elevate quarterbacks that have an Anthony Richardson kind of skill set. This was the best situation for Anthony Richardson. And this rookie season, I think we're going to see more highs than we see lows with Anthony Richardson. I think we're going to see Anthony Richardson have some really good games, and the games that he doesn't really do well in, Indianapolis is still going to have a chance at winning. I think a lot of the games that Indianapolis loses this year are going to be fairly close, and it's going to be because maybe Anthony Richardson makes a couple of late game mistakes. Shoot, you remember what Kenny Pickett did last season with the Pittsburgh Steelers when they played the Miami Dolphins? The dude threw like 3 interceptions, and yet the Pittsburgh Steelers still had a chance to win that game. The Indianapolis Colts are in a little bit of a rebuild. Their defense probably isn't going to be all that great. We don't really know how good their offensive line is going to be. Like, their offensive line has talent to be amongst the best, but it was a tremendous disappointment with how the offensive line performed last year. But if the offensive line is able to bounce back a little bit and be a little bit remotely close to what they were prior to the 2021 season, then that's going to help Anthony Richardson. If I had to give you guys like a prediction of what I think Anthony Richardson's stat line is going to be this year, I'd probably say he throws for like 3,500 yards. He has 20 passing touchdowns, 13 to 14 interceptions. He probably completes somewhere between 58% of his passes. And he probably has over 1,000 rushing yards because nobody's going to be able to stop this man when he decides to run the football. Like, I don't care. This dude is what? 6'4", 240? And runs 4.4? Who the hell's stopping that? If you're a defensive back, you don't even want to see that coming at you. That's like another running back coming at you full head of steam. And not just can this dude run through you, but he also is very elusive. He can run by you too. Nobody wants to see this in the open field, man. Who's stopping this in the open field? Like, Shane Steichen can really scheme things up for Indianapolis this year. This is going to be a really tough team to beat. This isn't going to be one of those teams that you see in your schedule and you look at and you say, oh, we playing the Colts, right in a W. Oh, we playing Anthony Richardson. Oh, yeah, he's going to struggle. Now, Anthony Richardson may struggle against some of the better defensive minds in the NFL. Of course, that's to be expected when you have a rookie QB. And, of course, there are going to be growing pains that comes with Anthony Richardson. But there are always growing pains when you have a rookie quarterback, no matter how well they play. Andrew Luck had a really good rookie season, and he had hella growing pains. You see the same thing with Lamar Jackson. He has some growing pains, especially when they end up playing the Chargers in the wild card round of the playoffs his rookie season. You saw how that went. So regardless of how good any rookie quarterback performs, they all have some highs and lows to their games. But I think Anthony Richardson's rookie season is going to be way better than what many people are expecting. And you got to remember that this dude was held back at Florida. He's going to a way better situation in the league that he was in when he was playing for the Gators. You have Billy Napier, who is running a conservative offense, treating a Lamborghini like it was a Honda Civic. And then the wide receivers weren't all that great. I don't know how many of you guys watching this pay attention to college football, but if you don't, look up Florida Gators spring game highlights. It was god-awful. Their quarterbacks were doing nothing but putting the ball in the dirt, and the wide receivers were doing nothing but putting passes on the grass. Come on, man. Like, Anthony Richardson, I'm expecting this guy to do some serious damage year one with Shane Steichen. The Indianapolis Colts may not win a lot of games, but they're going to be one of those teams that they're going to be super fun to watch every time you watch them play. Hell, if you're somebody who plays fantasy football, I probably would invest in Anthony Richardson. Late in the draft when you just have some picks to throw away and you're trying to build up your bench and you're trying to find some guys with upside, I definitely think that Anthony Richardson as a rookie has potential to be a top 10 quarterback in fantasy football when you consider what he brings to the table with his dual threat ability. This dude has a dynamic arm who can absolutely push the rock down the field. You got a big play threat in Alec Pierce. You have Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. You're going to have Michael Pittman, who's going to be your possession wide receiver. Like, Anthony Richardson has all the tools and has everything at his disposal to have a pretty explosive rookie season. Don't be surprised if this guy ends up being a top 10 quarterback in fantasy football. I mean, Jalen Hurts in 2021, he wasn't great statistically, but from a fantasy football perspective, he was phenomenal. So if you're somebody who's watching this right now and you're a really big fantasy football guy and you're looking for some sleepers, look at Anthony Richardson. I mean, yeah, he may struggle as a passer at times, but I think this guy's going to be even better throwing the football with Indianapolis than he was throwing the football with Florida. A lot of the reasons for why Anthony Richardson struggled last year was on Florida's coaching staff and not really having a great situation around him. So for Anthony Richardson, like, I'm expecting this guy's rookie season to be really explosive. And I expect the Indianapolis Colts to be really competitive. And like I said, Indianapolis, they probably won't win a lot of games this season. They may only win 3 or 4 games. But I do think that Anthony Richardson is going to look really exciting this year to watch.